Aloy, and good morning, Dexter.
Good morning.
Yes,
Morning.
and good morning to everybody watching on the live stream and watching on the replay. Hello to all the people watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Kumu. Hello, guys, and we're awesome live with the Roots Collective. And this group of guys are really interesting. I wanted to know their story. Paano ba nila bring together lahat ng mga social enterprise in what they call the Roots Collective. And we wanted to know the story direct from Aloy and Dexter. And if you're tuning in, please join us in our discussion by putting on comments. Please like and share this video in Our Awesome Planet in Facebook and YouTube, and even in Kumu. And welcome. Good morning. This is Awesome Live again with the Roots Collective, Dexter, and Aloy. Can you do a short All right, let's get it on. Dexter and Aloy. Okay, maybe to start off, for those people watching, especially on the replay, maybe can you do a short introduction about yourselves and how did you guys started this Roots Collective? Maybe we'll start with Aloy.
Sige, yeah, good morning everyone. Awesome morning everyone. Yeah, feeling awesome because of the two guys I'm with right now. Yeah, so my name is Aloy Chua. I turned 30 years old last month and I'm from the Philippines. Kala mo beauty pageant, you know. I have been immersed in the social entrepreneurship scene since I was in my third year of college, no? Kasi
wow, talaga?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, kasi actually on the eve of my on the eve of my exchange term abroad sa Ateneo, invite kami sa isang one-day exposure trip sa Gawad Kalinga Enchanted Farm, yung GK Farm sa Angat, Bulacan. And doon ako talaga na-introduce sa social entrepreneurship kasi at that time, I had no idea kung ano gusto ko sa buhay ko. But I already had an advocacy for the environment since mga 8 years old ako and for social justice since I was in high school. No? So para akong kinidlatan na shocks, kaya ko pala to gawin in a sustainable in a lucrative manner. So ever since I've been there, I had the Enchanted Farms Cafe at that time, no. Meron silang restaurant sa Manila. As my thesis, no, nag-consult kami for them as our thesis. Yung organization na nagdala sa akin sa farm, I worked with them. Pero yung plans ko with them after college hindi tumuloy, so I volunteered for a foundation that was also into social entrepreneurship, no. And that's where I met si Janine Chong, the co-founder of HABI Footwear and Lifestyle. Well, dati HABI Footwear lang tawag sa kanya, ngayon may lifestyle na siya. No? Okay. And really, while we were working in her office, kasi yeah, she asked me if I could be her manager sa business, sa enterprise niya. Yeah, so while I was there, one of the things she asked me to do was to put up a consignment wall of other social enterprises and mga creative startups, no. Okay. Similar to what Human Nature does, no. As a way, very Chinese, as a way to save up on rent. Yeah. So once that happened, syempre yung mga founders ang nagdadala ng gamit mismo, and as they stayed there, tumatambay sila. No, we realized may need talaga for a dedicated space, no, a dedicated physical space, social space, emotional space for these entrepreneurs, no, for these young entrepreneurs, no, to collaborate, to communicate, to celebrate, and even to commiserate. Buti na lang, sa ground floor of that building, there's a larger unit being na mag-move out na yung previous tenant, so we moved in there. And we set it up as a dedicated space for entrepreneurs, no. So that's how the Roots Collective first came into being. We opened our doors on May 2, 2016. And ever since then talaga, our aim has really been to be a community of growth for social enterprises and creative startups to help them achieve market leadership. No, we aim to be the premier organization helping them achieve this all across the value chain.
Nice.
Simula ideation pa lang all the way until they're scaling up. Kasi right now, meron yung ideation lang, meron yung market access lang. Pero everything in one organization, in one platform, wala pa. So, we're trying to become the pioneers in that. no? And yeah, so we started then with our 3 pillars of funding, facilitation and comm dev, capacity building, and market
Mhm.
access, no? So we did, yeah, so at that time, yung capacity building po natin for the enterprises was more physical. So may co-working space, may warehouse, virtual
Mhm.
office services. Syempre may shop din on the side if you remember, no?
Okay.
Then, yeah,
Why is it
gradually,
called
yeah,
Roots
go ahead.
Collective? Why is it called Roots Collective?
Interesting you should ask na, sir, kasi ang original name namin was actually Third Space. So
Ah,
if you recall a few years ago yung concept ng isang planner ni Starbucks, they
oo.
had yung home, work, and in between, di ba? So kami yung parang in between for the SEs. And then
Okay.
when we did further strategizing and branding exercises, we settled on the name Roots Collective kasi it represents being rooted, so nakaugat sa
Mm,
values and principles, and rooting as in you're like cheering for the same things, no, your goals, your mission. Mm-mm. So yeah, so we had that. We first decided to call ourselves the Roots Collective because our vision at that time was to replicate the Katipunan hub. Tawag namin ng hub like entrepreneurship
oo.
hub. We wanted to replicate it in different countries, different cities
Cities.
across the Philippines, no. Pero syempre, medyo mouthful sabihin, Roots Collective Katipunan Hub. So, it stuck so the name that we became known for was simply Roots Katipunan. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Paano naman napunta si Dexter? Ano naman
Okay.
Okay.
So I started actually in social entrepreneurship as part of my thesis in Ateneo. Kasi I joined the Somba program, so I had to make like a business. And then my group mates and we decided to go for a socially relevant and business that has impact. So we made a business called Holy Grain. So we sell sorghum products such as sorghum grains, pop sorghum, and all that. And one of the first the first store that we consigned to outside Ateneo was Roots Collective in Katipunan. And from there, that's how I got to meet sila Aloy and other friends. And yun, I ended up becoming part of the Roots Collective team. Right now, I'm doing quite a lot of the marketing right now, but I'm learning a lot really about the business, different business models, and learning about different stories from Roots Collective.
Okay. All right. Maybe let's share the website no and talk about the different brands first. I actually have a lot of questions for you guys on how
Yeah.
because I'm fascinated with the story. I've been following Enchanted Farm for the longest time ever since.
Sige.
We
I
promoted
can share
Biryani
screen
Brew at
naman,
the
ano.
start, so that's why I wanted to know how you guys are doing this Roots Collective. So, but we'll share the website. No? Maybe you walk us
Sige.
through the web.
Here we go.
So yeah,
So,
this
ay, kita ba?
Kita. Yes, yes.
yes, Kita.
Okay.
Ayan, so,
Let's,
uh, we'll tell a little bit more about the story of how this website came to be later, no. Pero for now, yeah, you
the
can
different brands.
yeah, we can just see here na meron siyang nakasegregate siya into shopping by category kasi we want to be like an online department store of social enterprises and creative
Of
startups, you know.
enterprise.
Naka-by
Okay. Where's the
branded.
different brands? So marami
Here you
ng
go.
brands then.
Yeah, we have
Oh,
more than 50 brands right now.
wow. Okay. And
Yeah,
so what are the most popular brands ba? Social enterprise brands. Maybe talk about
currently
some of
si Gouache, no. So si Gouache is part of the second wave of founders na kasama ni Dexter.
Okay.
So
Itong
si
gouache.
Gouache does
This one.
so they
Okay.
do wax canvas bags and mga fashion accessories. Si Holy Grain itself, they're also mabenta rin sila lalo na yung pop sorghum kasi it's an affordable and healthier snack alternative. It's healthier than popcorn, much healthier than your regular potato chips, of course. And personal favorite ko talaga siya. As in, lagi kong sinasabi ka na Dexter, I'm your biggest fan, you know. So,
Ganun
yeah.
ba?
Oh, ganun talaga. Tapos,
Anong
other
pangalan ulit? Sorry, what's the brand nila? What's the brand of the sorghum?
holy grain. As in, holy buo, holy grain. Ayun, no? Yung sa last part. Sa right side, sir.
It's
W
literally
ang start.
the last brand because it's W.
It's W.
Yan.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
wow. This is your product. San galing yung mga grains?
It's from Ilocos
Ilocos.
Norte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy. So, ano siya? Sorghum. All sorghum products.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. What else? Ano pa bang mga ano?
Bukod
Another favorite I have is Tio and Philo. They sell
Okay.
artisanal
They've been-
chocolates from
Yeah.
all over, with different flavors from all over the Philippines. They're based in, they source their chocolates from Davao, and then they incorporate different flavors such as sesame, such as adobo, and really interesting flavors. Award-winning pa siya.
Oh, tsaka one of the OGs yan on artisanal
Yeah.
chocolate. And social enterprise, of course.
Yes, they were actually the first social enterprise I ever encountered.
Oo.
Sila tsaka si Bayani Brew.
Tsaka si Bayani Bro.
So,
Pero nauna
yeah,
yata
so-
si Tio pa din eh.
Halos sabay sila, yeah. Kasi when I went to the farm kasi, parang
They're there.
binilindfold kami, pina-taste test kami. The first thing I had was yung calamansi chocolate ni Theo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you have Mayani rin pala, no? You have Mayani.
Yes. Currently
carry
sa
yan?
website, we carry their coffee, yung Barako coffee nila, which is amazing. We are working on launching fresh produce.
Oo,
Yeah,
mahirap rin yung fresh produce eh.
Tsaka dahil lang sa pandemic restrictions and whatnot, lagi nauudlot. Pero yeah, we're working on launching it.
Okay.
So,
Nasaan dito yung lifestyle, sabi mo? Yung shoe?
HABI Lifestyle.
HABI
There.
Ayan, so
Okay.
we can credit Janine Chong, the co-founder, as being the pinaka OG founder of Roots.
Wow.
So they make lots of products from upcycled fabric, from indigenous weaves, and they help communities in Batasan and Payatas with their livelihoods.
Nag-start talaga sila as shoes eh. Kasi at that time, yun yung parang bago. Yun yung parang twist, di ba? Kasi at that time, marami ng pot holders, etc. So they made shoes with the woven rags. As in yung community talagang very strict yung community leader niya sa quality, sa QA. Magaling. And then they incorporated canvas, abaka, and recycled airplane tires into their shoes. Yung una nilang produkto was espadrilles. They've since branched out to sandals and sneakers.
Okay. Now, question. So you actually have obviously all the really good social enterprise. How do you create them? How do you do your parang due diligence to make sure that they're social enterprise? Kasi marami rin nagpre-pretend na social enterprise.
Actually, sir, the truth is we do not do much curation. Kasi we actually preach inclusivity. Yeah,
so everybody.
We preach. We have a few specifications lang. Kasi ano rin eh, we're not exactly just for social enterprises also. We also welcome creative and intentional startups, no. Pero yeah, basically kailangan local brand siya. It doesn't even have to be completely manufactured in the Philippines, but it has to be a local brand talaga. Homegrown brand siya.
Homegrown brand.
Yeah, hindi siya pwede kunyari pinasok sa galing sa ibang bansa tapos yung Philippine distribution hindi pwede. Kailangan local brand talaga siya dito.
We are very clear in differentiating which brands are SEs and which brands aren't when people ask, especially. So there's a community aspect for almost all of the social enterprises we carry. If there's no community aspect, there's also there's an environmental aspect or a social mission. So we've actually made this thing called an impact map, and we've been posting it recently every Saturday, where we would talk about it. Oh, it's on our.
It's on the website.
It's on the website. It's also the more updated version is on social media, on our social media channels.
Okay. Yeah,
so
if you go to our IG
Facebook
or if you
Instagram,
go to Facebook, we have actually a map which talks about what the product, what the brand is, what are their advocacies, and then we also talk about the community that they help, if there is a community that they help, and also the products they sell and how it also impacts the community. For example, yeah, we have different impact now. So we have a map of the entire Philippines, and then there are different locations there. There are dots, and it shows also what communities are, which brands, and where are their communities based in. So I can actually show it to you. We have it
Yeah, can you
here
share it?
on,
Can you
yeah.
share it? Yeah.
Although this is not yet an updated version because it's what do you call this? This was the previous rendition. Let me look
Sige.
at it.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Tsaka,
quite interesting. Yeah.
tsaka Sir Anton, because of our work with ESIP, the Innovation for Social Impact Partnership, which is a collaboration between PhilDev Foundation, the
And
Australian Embassy, and the UNDP. We have already
okay.
been we have already been implementing the UN SDGs into our impact, and pati na rin yung impact ng mga enterprises. So a couple of them, if they're not yet fully aware of what their SDGs are, we work with them to come up with to identify which their SDGs are. So yeah, you'll notice impact map for the individual enterprises. There are SDGs listed down below.
Yeah, so this
Mm,
is a basic version of the impact map. So in here we have different there are different touch points. So you get example, click this brand here. This one is for creative definition. So what will pop up is a description of the brand, and it will also, did it click? Did it click? Yes. There'll be a picture, there'll be a description, there'll be a logo.
ang
So
galing.
example for creative definitions talks about their party communities in Negros, Kabangkanan, and how they ensure that these people are taken care of. We have another version actually on our Facebook and IG, which actually has also the SDGs that they support. So in this case, one of I know that this for this brand, one of the SDGs that they support is no poverty and also gender equality, if I'm not mistaken, because a big part of their weaving community are women. Um,
Mm,
yes.
galing. All
We have
right.
another one here also. For
Which one?
example, this one. This is for Woven. This one naman, they're based in Basay, which is in Samar. And they talk
Uh-oh.
about how they're ensuring that a particular weaving craft doesn't die off with modernization.
So you sell the weave on your site?
Um, we're going
Current,
to in the near future. We're going to be having them also on our Uptown store. Um,
Wow.
once everything is ironed out.
Wow, ang galing. Now, I know we're part of the Gift Local campaign, no, of Globe. Why do
Glow
you think
Business.
Globe Business? Why do you think for people watching the stream and for people considering now's the time kasi for people considering to buy gifts for friends and family this season, no? Why do you think it's very important to gift local, and what makes your product awesome for the people considering for gifts, food gifts or non-food gifts, di ba?
Um, on my end, kasi, we're reeling from a pandemic, and you have, of course, almost everyone knows that the overwhelming majority of the Philippine economy is made up of MSMEs. No? So, dyan tayo kasama. Mga social enterprises na sa MSMEs. No? And if they're not supported, they can collapse, and with that comes a big part of your economy. Um, it also, I also personally think we should be gifting local because it supports our heritage. It supports the excellence of what our countrymen can do. Lalo yung mga farmers, the craftsmen, artisans, no? And well, it is ultimately potentially less expensive on both your wallet and ang carbon footprint natin, because if it's imported, although syempre, a lot of imported goods are also of very high quality, pero there's also the environmental costs to factor in. Pag local, mas wala, no? And one thing good with the Roots Collective is that we actually will work with you, whether you are a retail person buying gifts or you're representing your company for your corporate giveaways. We will create gift boxes for you, no? Na according to your budget and your preference. And for some of the items, not all, but some of the items, we can even personalize or customize them for you.
Yeah. For me, it boils down to two reasons. You would want to give a gift locally from a local product because it has more meaning and it has more impact. More meaning because lots of local products are handcrafted and they represent a work of art. They're not just mass produced or they're not just soulless. They have a meaning behind it. And another aspect I would want to talk about is impact. Not just impact to the person you'd be giving the gift to, but also the communities behind it um, and the company or brand that makes it. Because they're still an they're usually MSMEs, and if you support social enterprises and MSMEs, you'd have much more impact than supporting, for example, a foreign brand, because they're big already. One of the I know for Globe businesses, Gift Local program, their tagline is gift once, no, give twice, something like that. So it kind of encapsulates it, because if you're going to purchase local, you're not just actually giving a gift for the person that you're buying for. You're also somewhat giving a gift towards the communities that they're supporting.
Yeah. See, human nature, I think, likes to call it the gift that keeps on giving. So in line with what Dex was saying, yeah, you actually make Christmas meaningful for two people, your recipient and your community member. Ay, Sir Anton?
Sorry. So, yeah, sa Gift Local, it's buy once, give twice.
Ayun.
Yan yung tagline. So, no, that's very good. Now, I wanted to know, during the pandemic, it's very hard, no? I know a lot of social enterprise got really affected also. And maybe, can you talk to us the challenge? I know you closed all your stores, but what was the challenge coming into this pandemic? What happened? How did you guys pivot it during
Okay.
this time?
So, nung early 2020, when we did our planning, we really had the intention to do a pop-up store caravan. Kasi yung store namin sa Uptown was a holiday pop-up store na in-extend lang. But yeah, we were planning to do a caravan across Metro Manila with e-commerce to follow down the line pa. No? Unfortunately, yeah, as you said, oh my God, that was like one of the most hellish days ever. March 16, kasi March 12, nag-announce ng lockdown, di ba? As in, March 12, right after the priest was blessing yung dapat magiging bagong office namin sa Marikina. Nag-announce ng lockdown. So, for the next several days, we were like talagang anxiety level ko was like up the roof and all. Finally, March 16, nung nag-announce si Megaworld na magsasara na sila, kasi Upton's under Megaworld, di ba? Talagang, taranta talaga, okay, get all the cash out, get all the papers out, give them to me, store everything in the valuable, ganun talaga. As in, like, okay, tell me when you're home safe, mag-ingat kayo, okay? Yeah, wear a mask, sanitize, distance properly, ganun. And we didn't know what to do at first, no? Pero, fortunately, 3 days into the lockdown, one of our older enterprise partners came back to us with the new disinfectant product. Sabi niya, oy, baka Roots can carry this. So, talagang very, 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 very rustic talaga siya. Yeah, Dex can talk a little bit more about that part, no? Like what the tools we used and are using.
Yeah, how do I say this? One of the things that we had to learn was really to pivot, because the business model we wanted to do was really pop-ups, and syempre that can't work, especially if you're in a mall, right? So what we ended up doing was we ended up doing everything online. So at first when we were selling, you're just using Google Forms, we were just doing it through Facebook. But we eventually tried to make our own website so that it would be much more efficient. We had so we used Shopify and we had to learn from scratch. Also, syempre, nag-go minsan kami kasi the internet isn't that good. So we had backup internet, obviously. And when we when we did the website, we had to keep on polishing it because there were bugs and all of that. And initially we had a hard time, but eventually we kind of got the hang of it as well. And the nice thing about having a website is it's not very capital intensive. It's lots of effort, but it's really worth it once you have set it up. The current rendition of our website actually is the second rendition already, because we
Mm.
upgraded the theme, we added a lot of new features so that we could carry a lot more products. So it is how I could say it's a really big, it's a work in progress, but it's a work in progress that has had lots of um how do you say this? Lots had a very long runway.
Oo. Pero paano yung how did you handle the supply chain? I'm sure the supply has some problems then throughout the pandemic. How did you adapt that problem?
Yeah, right now a big part of the inventory is all at Aloy's house right now, because um how do you say this? Yeah, syempre we don't have any physical space anymore. We had to save on money. With regard to the different enterprises, many of them are still
Ah,
able to produce, because while a lot of
okay.
their products are um non-food, lots of them are weaving. So in many cases, nagka-surplus sila. Some
Okay.
brands though, they had a hard time with selling and distributing the product, especially nung sa first
Oo.
lockdown, kasi the borders were hard shut, diba?
Oo.
But I could say that in a big in many for many of our brands, they were still able to operate somewhat.
Okay.
Mm.
But
So we were
more
we,
my
we were not able to carry everything since like
okay.
kasi at the height of the pop-up store, we had more than 70 SEs and creative startups, you know. Pero we could not carry all of them nung nag-pivot kami to digital kasi iba sa kanila very 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 bulky ang inventory, like clothes, footwear. In fact, when we launched our website, we only had around less than 20 enterprise partners. And then we just steadily reclaimed some of them, or marami rin mga bago who joined us during this pandemic lang. So up to the 50 plus na you saw earlier, no? Mm-mm.
And then but what was the behavior of people? Kasi 'di ba the behavior was essentials lang. Did they look at ano ba, para social enterprise to, local to. Was that important to them or wala basta essentials lang will buy?
Yes and no, not as much. Fortunately kasi last year, noong height ng pandemic, si Gouache came up with a reusable PPE. So it's not medical grade, but it's stylish,
Mm,
sustainable, and affordable. So marami rin mga doctors na kinuha nila kasi they like how it looks. Parang
okay.
lang, yeah, okay lang, we prefer this to the medical grade na mukha kaming astronaut or something, I don't know. Yeah, and
Oo.
then that was actually our overwhelming bestseller last year, as in super outlier siya.
Oo. And this
Yeah,
year?
this year it's been more balanced na.
Okay.
It's still, yeah, may pagka-essentials pa rin, as you mentioned. Although, recently, we've also been seeing more gifting items na. So, mas hindi siya essentials-oriented.
Like what? Like what? What are the people?
So, yeah, we actually, currently, I'm processing an order for a series of gift boxes, no? It's not, hindi siya corporate order.
Ano
Um,
siya,
Yeah, so
parang
sabi
surprise
niya,
box. Yeah.
sabi niya, oh, Aloy, assemble this, etong budget ko, I wanna see more of the food items. So, gumawa ko. So, ginamit ko yung ginamit ko yung wooden crate ni Balai Kamay, nilagay ko yung pop sorghum ni Dexter, and et cetera, ganun. So,
Nice.
and then yung isa naman, another corporate client, for teachers, no? It's a gift for teachers naman. So, we gave more teachery items. So, may canvas pencil case, may
Oo.
plantable pencils, syempre may konting snacks din to help them keep their sanity. May candles, meron din scented candles para mas lalo silang hindi mawalan ng anxiety, mas hindi sila masira ng bait, mga ganun.
Oo. Galing ah. So, going back to the what are the other different tools and skills that you had to learn no during this pandemic? Kasi of course, digital transformation needs to happen in all in all businesses and hindi lahat nakaka-transition. For you guys, maybe let's talk about tools no that you guys use just to transform your small business.
Sige.
Si Dexter.
Sige,
Or,
maybe
okay.
See, Dex can start kasi yeah, he learned more of the technical stuff seeing as his operations.
Yeah, how do I say this? Parang one of the things that I learned was to be efficient with time and like kahit computer storage space. Kasi one of the things that I ended up doing was the collaterals. Kasi initially when we had the physical store, you didn't really have to post as often, in my opinion, because the store speaks for itself. The store in itself is a form of branding and a form of it already has marketing embedded to it. But when the pandemic happened, we had to know the namin yung digital marketing. So yun, I learned a bit more about how Facebook and IG works with regard to posting. I also learned about how to use Canva. That's one of the apps that I ended up using a lot because it saves up lots of space and it's very efficient to use. So that's what I use to make posters.
Very user
For
friendly.
for the website, I learned a bit about SEO marketing because it's
Okay.
important for you to be relevant to the search engines so that you could get seen. And yes, Shopify was one of the biggest was the website builder we chose to use, and it was a great way for us um to go online, to create a website without all the need for coding because this one it felt a bit like they call this a WordPress site. It was very it's very interactive and very useful to have. We
Ako naman,
also
sige.
oh yeah, we also partnered up with um PayMongo. So we now process payments from different banks such as BPI, and we
Mhm.
also use digital wallets now for transfers. So you could pay through GCash also.
Yeah. Ako naman, similar to what Dexter was mentioning, I had to learn to be much more flexible pa kasi I'm normally a very organized, systematic person. Ang problema, sometimes I don't know how to be flexible. So I had to
Mhm.
like knock down that part of my being masyadong structured. Um, yeah, I also learned a little bit more about SEO, marketing, ads, no? Kasi actually before sometime in the past, I wanted to become a blogger, like a monetized blogger and vlogger. So I had to learn din. I was already learning din about mga best times to post whatever, best practices in content creation, mga ganun, no? And then, yeah, parang doing roots helped me learn a little bit more about it. Um, and then, yeah, I also had to relearn doing the website kasi si Shopify is actually medyo similar to WordPress, but I hadn't touched
Mhm.
WordPress in some time. So, may konting relearning din doon. And then, yeah, for tools, yun, as mentioned, actually, my GCash is the busiest it's ever been since like, itong panahon. I actually had to open a second GCash account for my personal kasi yung una kong GCash, naging pang roots. I had to open a second one for my personal use na. Kasi nahahalo na siya. Yung mga ganun. And then, yeah. And then, yeah, we actually also, one of our backup tools is actually, Globe at Home. As in,
Okay. Ay, na-mute ka. Sorry, Aloy.
yeah, and it's gonna be one of our, we'll be using it again in the store when, when it opens in December 1. As in, yung the saksak, you know that, right? And then, yeah, si Gomo, Gomo has also been a very effective backup because, for those who are not aware, ang Roots Collective,
What's Kumo?
yeah, so we have a strategic partner in Labella Tagaytay. So they are a health and wellness oriented residential and commercial complex. And syempre, medyo rustic ang telco sa Tagaytay. But
Of course.
Gomo has helped us so much. It's a very good backup kasi we actually have a house there pero walang internet. So Gomo ang internet ko doon and it works surprisingly well. I think kudos to Globe for it. Yeah, so GoMo is a prepaid internet. No, for those who don't know, prepaid data siya under Globe, where it's non-expiring, and you can even use it for you can use it sa cellphone mo, you can use it sa pocket Wi-Fi device, no, and you can even use it to make calls and texts. And then yung accounting niya will be in the form of data, kasi it's all database na talaga. So
Oh.
I think it's a very good strategic direction for for Globe.
Paano yung payment nyo across the vendor? Ano na ba? Digital na rin lahat ng mga
Yeah.
payment?
Kasi dati, nung physical pa lang kami, we would do individual bank deposit to each of the enterprises. Siyempre, because the banks were like, medyo nakakatakot to go to the banks during the pandemic. And thank God, a lot of the banks waived interbank charges for the most part, but not the entire part of the pandemic so far. Panay interbank transfer na ginagawa ko.
Okay.
And even then, moving forward, even when we go back to physical, we will still be remitting everything online. Kasi it's just much more convenient. Tsaka mas hindi masakit sa kamay pag magsusulat ka ng mga cheque.
Yes.
And then syempre, hindi lahat pinipick up yung cheque right away. So you're given a false sense of security na marami ka pa palang pera sa bangko, when in reality, naka-earmark na siya under the check.
Yeah,
At least
I think
ito,
it's also pretty. Yeah, it's also been pretty helpful that lots of late adapters are now using GCash because of the pandemic. Like even our titas or aunties or parents are now all using GCash. Everyone's using it right now.
Sila pa nagsabi, can we pay via GCash na lang? We're like, sure.
No, your story is so inspiring. As you are reopening your first store in Uptown on December 1, let's maybe you can just reflect lang. What were the key learnings you had throughout these 2 years? Alam mo, ang hirap I know you guys look parang andali lang, pero I've worked with all the social enterprise, all the SMEs. It's so difficult just getting to the point of reopening one store, no, in a mall. So maybe can you share to people what were your key learnings or insights throughout this time? What was the most important thing that tied you over throughout this pandemic?
Mexico.
Oh, for me, what I learned was being small does have its own benefit, because if you're small and lean, you're able to easily adapt and move easily. So we were quite able to pivot because we didn't have much baggage or weight with us. I also learned a lot about relationships. How in the end, relationships are really important moving forward. For example, we had a relationship with different malls like Ayala Land, Mega World, and they were really helpful with helping SMEs continue to survive in the middle of the pandemic. What I also learned was that there's no harm in learning, because right now you need lots of skills to succeed in life, and especially right now there's a pandemic. So yeah, those were the stuff that I learned.
Ako naman, I learned to be more assertive. Kasi mabait talaga. Yeah, yan ang everyone says, I'm too nice for my own good. That's why I needed to learn to be more mataray. Joke lang. Pero bukod doon, so I learned to be more assertive. Kasi, when I first started Roots with my partners in 2016, I wasn't the head honcho. I actually left Roots for a couple of years. And when I came back, I became head honcho na. So, yeah, I'm here for good. So, yeah, I've really had to learn to be more assertive and really kailangan ko rin kayang tutukan lahat ng mga bagay kasi it's not it's not like before na isang 1 or 2 parts lang of the business ang check ko. Ngayon it's like everything na. Yeah, I also learned to manage Yeah, and building on what Dexter said, I also learned to manage my relationships with everyone. Kasi nga, the Roots
Mhm.
Collective is first and foremost a community, no? Actually, we are an association of entrepreneurs. And syempre, they're all busy founders with their own busy schedules and their own personalities, no? So, um, managing Roots has really been more like managing people than managing businesses. No? May kanya-kanyang quirks, may kanya-kanyang triggers, may kanya-kanyang mga ways of approaching, and talagang I had to learn to make discarte in all those matters, no? Yeah, so not just institutional partners like yung nga, si mga malls, no, but also like even members of our own community. I had to learn that din. And then, yeah, I also had to learn to think on the fly, to make decisions like on the spot. Kasi normally
Mhm.
I take time to make my own decisions. I like to factor everything in. Sometimes I would even sometimes medyo overanalyzing ako or overthinker ako. And I always consult my partners. I don't like making decisions all on my own. Ayoko maging
Okay.
autocratic kasi, no. But yeah, at the same time I've had to balance it din with making decisions on the go instantly kapag kunyari hindi sila available or I have to give an answer then and there. Yeah.
Mhm.
So in relation to what Dex said kanina, being lean and mean does help kasi yeah, less factors to consider. Yeah. So yeah, yun yung maging ano. And then of course, I learned then a lot in general about how business works and all that, the local scene. So kumbaga
Mhm.
na-broaden yung horizons ko.
Oo.
And as we keep on going, I think that sort of learning will keep on happening and at the same time be relevant, no? So tuloy-tuloy talaga siya. I mean, 'di ba? All the personal development gurus say naman na one thing should never stop doing is learning, eh. So continuous learning talaga siya.
So quick question. Is the Roots Collective a corporation or a cooperative? Or paano ba? How did you structure it so that everybody is happy in a sense?
Um, well, currently, ang plano talaga namin, and this is when Dexter came along, no, in
Oo.
2018, 2019, we really wanted to make it a cooperative of social enterprises. Kasi nung nag-soul searching kami, we figured out that at the end of the day, our target customers are the social enterprises, not the buying public, no? Kasi nga, we are in the business of building entrepreneurs, to make
Yes.
them grow, di ba? So, syempre, because of the pandemic and everyone's busy schedules, currently we are classified as an association.
Okay. You're classified as an association. But paano yung funding? Let's say funding the store. So you contribute parang ganun.
Yes, so
Parang may fund.
when sina Dexter came along, they were as the second wave of founders, naglabas din sila ng pera, and then at the same time, the program that led us to having the association and the first pop-up in the first place was actually a grant, no,
Ah,
negotiated. Yeah, it was negotiated by one of our founding partners, si Jamir Ocampo of Kappa Greens, who had ties with the Peace and Equity Foundation, PEF,
okay.
no. So there was a community grant, and there was a grant funded program to develop all these plans in 2018, 2019. That was when we did the association, pumasok si Dexter. That is when we did our commercial presence, and then actually the concluding activity of that program was a 1 week long bazaar and fair sa baba, sa atrium naman, no? Not inline
Mhm.
store, pero sa baba of Uptown that Dexter led. It was called the Roots Commune. And
Okay.
among other things, we also launched there our current ongoing Seaball program. So the Seaball
Mhm.
program is a multi-million peso fund. So it's funded by PEF and the Forest Foundation of the Philippines, where we invest in rural communities to develop products and to become additional communities to our SE partners or sila mismo ay maging SEs in their own right. So
In there.
the SE becomes a mentor to them really. So parang the SE becomes teaches them, trains them in org dev, yung mga business practices and mga technical stuff, know-how. And then yeah, they co-create products together. So it's currently ongoing and we should see the fruits of their labors maybe next year, early next year.
Wow, galing. You know, it's really so inspiring to talk to you guys, and you know, good job with Roots Collective, and more power. And maybe just to close, any final message, and please do invite them to your to the opening of your Roots Collective in Sino who wants to go
Well,
first?
I can start. So,
Okay.
we're inviting you to our new store at Uptown Bonifacio. It will be at the third floor, near in front of UCC Coffee and near the cinemas. We're gonna have an intimate opening ceremony at 11 a.m. We hope you guys can come. We hope you guys can choose to support local and social during this holiday season, because the meaning of a product isn't just its price, isn't just its value, but also the people behind it. We hope um, that you will end up not just buying for the other person, but also for the communities that um, the product supports.
Yeah. In the meantime, you can check us out also online on our web store at rootscollective.ph. No, it's gonna be ongoing naman dire-diretso. Before and it's gonna be part of our direction talaga for the long term. And check out also for if you want ideas on gifts for this Christmas for yourself or your loved ones or for your corporate stakeholders. We do encourage you also to check out our catalog there and our specially made corporate gifting section. No? So doon we can help you choose which products or want or brands na near and dear to your heart. And yeah, so we hope we hope you'll consider supporting social enterprises this season para we can really build back better together. No, because it goes both ways naman eh. We also need your help and your participation. No? And yeah, we hope you will consider shifting to local and social to power your life. No, just like how Globe can connect and power your life, we also hope that we can power your life through what you purchase. No, and at the same time, you can empower other people through it.
Yes, and you're also part. They can also um, check out the Gift Local campaign,
Mm-hmm.
no,
That's right.
of Globe.
That's right.
Gift Local, buy once, give twice. You're wow, ang galing nito, no? See, Globe Business does not feature a lot of entrepreneurs, but you guys, the entire Roots Collective, are being featured in the Gift Local campaign for Globe Business. So
Yeah,
congratulations.
all our social enterprise partners are featured there right now. So
Oo.
sobrang
So
sobrang laking tulong sa kanila to.
they can buy it through the Globe portal also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Oh, ang galing. Congratulations. And nice to get to know you. Hindi ko kayo na-meet throughout the GK Enchanted Farm. Of course, or hindi tayo nag-cross eh. But we met, of course, a lot of the food entrepreneurs actually. We have this ultimate taste test. Maybe you guys I'm inviting you to ultimate taste test. So we have this ultimate taste test. It is the longest running food taste event in the country. So it's on November 29 on Monday. Maybe you guys could go. We have two social entreps there. See, Kalabu is participating. Not sure if you
Kalabu,
got connected
Of
with
Miss
si
Marie,
Marie.
yes.
Yeah, so
we are
Marie,
onboarding her. We are onboarding her sa
you're
Fresh
onboarding her.
Produce.
So Marie is there, the Kalabu. Met her recently in in Laguna. Ang galing, galing rin ng story niya, how she, worked through this pandemic. And the Carabela, of course, but Carabela yata ibang owner na,
Arabella.
di ba? So the Carabela people are there. And Ultimate Tastes actually is very crucial. Bayani Brew, the first time
Bayani Brew.
Bayani Brew was featured was in Ultimate Tastes way back, and that started their journey also. So yun, maraming
Si Holy
salamat.
Grail, Holy Grail lagay nyo rin next time.
Oo nga, baka pwede naman si Holy Grain. Oo. Pero ano kailangan lutuin eh para ma-taste. Yeah, next time.
Luto-luto siya.
Oo. Maraming salamat. Thank you for the inspirational story and for sharing your story with a lot of people. And ang galing. Yung what I learned from your story is, yun nga, I think the power of the community is very important. Not only the local community, but you kept the social entrepreneur community intact. Marami kasing na wala na. And alam niyo naman yan, nawawala yung iba. And at least you guys are, finishing strong this pandemic reopening. We'll continue to support you and support all your social enterprise. Our awesome planet will continue to support
Sana.
this collective. And of course, Globe Business, maraming salamat for supporting
Maraming
all
salamat.
the social enterprise. Maraming salamat. Live an awesome life. And for you guys, of course, one big fight, guys. Can you do a short